the scripture talks about the house of David, or David would come again one day, the shepherd, which they know to be as Christ, right? And so when I come along, you know, it just happens that a small little remnant group on the face of the earth here in Waco, Texas, was the ones that God chose for me to come to.
Right.
When I show them all the things that they already believe and tie it all together in the light of the revelation and state my purpose being the root and offspring of David, and all of a sudden, wow, you know, the light is made manifest.
You told me that the children are innocent. Do you not this morning?
Oh, sure they are.
Then let's send them out. Let's send them out of that house right now.
No.
Let's send them out. You're telling me the children are innocents, but yet you want to keep them in there?
Look,
What is the purpose for that?
Hey, none of your business.
Well, give me a reason for it.
No, I don't have to.
Give me a reason.
I don't have to.
Give me a cogent reason for those
right
kinds
to
of things.
silent anything I say can and will be held against me in a court of law. There's my Miranda rights. You people just are so arrogant, so proud, and so foolish. Why don't you learn the everlasting gospel? Why don't you believe Revelation 14? Why don't you fear God and give Him glory? You may not fear His judiciary. You may laugh and scoff at His judgment.
David, I have never done that in all the
Yes, you are doing that
we
right
had.
now, my friend, and you need to understand. That's what you're doing, and you're starting to make me mad. Now, why don't you read Psalms 2 one more time?
David, do you respect what I'm trying to do with you, for you?
I respect nothing of you because you have not deserved such respect. Well, no, you know, y'all guys can oratate pretty good, most of you, but you got one of the best, you know, orating voices of all the others, and it's, well, I guess it's all, that's what you get paid for. You've got to be able to talk in a way that very clear, very, very subtle, very controlled, very. Well, it's a blessing, you know. Good oration is I never had it, you know.
Oh no, you don't have the gift of oration, huh?
Now you know my voice.
Sure.
Hickish.
Persuasive.
No, it's hickish. It's hickish. I've got this drawl. This.
You want to hear hickish? Come on down to South Louisiana.
I've been there.
Well, you come on down to South Louisiana, and I'll show you what that's all about.
You know I'm not going nowhere after this. Come on.
You never know where you're going to end up.
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
I do.
You never know. And wherever it may be.
I'm going home.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I'm going home. Wherever home is, I'm going home.
Well, where are you right now?
Well, I'm passing through here.
You're passing through.
This is not my home.
When you say that you're going home, it concerns me when you tell me this that you've got something else in mind, maybe, as opposed to leading your flock out of there.
Not suicide.
I can barely hear you. Just hang on. Let me. There's.
Yeah, you got some.
Oh boy, this crazy phone.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Listen, Pete.
Yeah.
Pete, you can bring Pete out, sending an adult with him for purposes of identifying the circumstances to the coroner's office.
Well, now what are you saying exactly?
I'm saying that you can take the body of Pete out with 2 adults, 1 adult of whom will have to stay with the body to explain to the coroner the circumstances surrounding why the body was there for this period of time and that sort of thing.
Hang on a minute.
He's saying they want one of the adults to go along so they can explain to the coroner what happened.
Dick?
Yeah.
David says, let's stop this kind of thing.
Stop what kind of thing?
I mean, you mentioned having an adult go along downtown or something to the coroner. I mean, if they choose to, that's one thing.
That's fine. To get one of your adults there that chooses to do that. I know full well that
but none of them want to do that. I mean, he asked already.
All right, then we'll have to forget about Pete for right now.
Okay, what we'll do then is we'll go bring him out and leave him out at the gate and just leave him there.
No, we can't. We're not going to do that either. Okay. Again, I told you earlier on that
listen, you guys, not you, not the FBI, the ATF shot him.
All right.
So let them deal with him.
We're going to deal with it, but we have these safety rules that we made known to you yesterday.
Safety rules. You have men sitting in an armored vehicle. If they want to shoot, let me ask him just a minute.
Okay. Do you have 2 guys take them down to the guard gate anyway? In the back of the truck and move them.
So you're not going to respect our dead, are you, Dick?
Well, listen, I respect the dead, you respect the dead, but let us work on it. Listen, I told you that I don't make these decisions on my own.
I know, Dick, but when I say you, I'm speaking
I know, but listen to me, Steve. I know what you mean.
What you're doing.
I know. We have to be concerned about what we say and how we say it. But listen, I made your wishes known to the people that are running this law enforcement effort. And I think I told you before, it's not one person. There are a number of interested parties here. Okay, I take your request and my own request to those people, and they're evaluated. I told you before that I'd be riding down the lane over there with the milk, that I would pick Pete up, but I am I'm trying to deal with you, but I don't make those other decisions. There are a lot of decisions being made. They listen to me in some fashion.
You know what? The best thing I like is I just like yes and no answers.
I love them.
Getting right to the point.
I love them myself.
You can't do the milk thing. You can't do the body thing.
Not right now.
No, okay,
not right
fine.
now.
Well, you call me back when you feel you might.
Well, listen. Let's don't let this.
No. Listen, there is no sense.
It.
Look, we don't need to go around on a merry-go-round. You and I, around and around.
I hope we've not done that.
Well, we really have been. You've got certain designs. You want everyone out, and you'll try, and that's fine. Like I told you, I can see it.
Haven't we between the two of us worked out things?
We've said this over and over again.
Okay. Have we worked some things out? Let's don't give up.
Hold
it, Steve. Listen, let's think about this and talk calmly together.
No,
we have gotten certain things done.
Let's not come to a halt or a stand. Unless you want to, it's okay. See, I'm not going to sit here and try to give you a snow job and sell
Nor am I.
Okay, well, really, you don't realize.
I'm saying that we have gotten things done, have we not? Throughout the day, we've gotten things done. Let's don't let this be a blocking issue here.
Okay,
let's work on it.
Let's work on it. Listen, and respect all. You can call me when you feel you want to do anything. If you have a respect for the dead, or if you have respect for our children, well, you can come to some decisions with your.
Listen, I hope you're not quarreling with the respect I have for those children.
Listen to me.
I mean,
don't put more into what I'm saying than when I actually am. I mean, there's no sense in me staying on the phone with you for 20 minutes, a half hour, 5 days. The decision comes down to yourself. Here's a body decaying. A human being that was here, never hurt anybody or anything else. Here's someone that was shot in the back of the head. We found him. We're willing to bring him out, that he can be identified. I heard that his parents are here. Let them identify him. I'm sure they will.
Well,
I mean,
I'm
everybody
not sure
here
that they are here. How do you know that they're here?
Oh, by the press, very clearly by the press. Oh, by your agency also gave me the names of at least 5 families that were here.
And Pete Gent's family was here?
That is correct.
Oh.
And I do believe you probably know that. I'm sure you would have any and all information at your fingertips. I'd be shocked.
Listen, hold it. You give me more credit than I'm due, okay? If I had that information, I would give it to you. I told you I'm not lying to you. I haven't lied to you. I'm not.
Well, have them bring all that in. You're at a command post, from what I understand.
Exactly, and it takes us some time to sort.
Should be right there.
It should be available at some point in time, but it's not immediately available.
Like I even told you about the guy that probably got it in the field. I believe I know who he would possibly be. And
I understand.
What would take so long to identify someone if it is or isn't?
It's being done, but it has to be done to a certainty. You know, we just can't accept information that this is so and so. Obviously, some things have to be followed up on to determine
who it was.
Pardon me?
Exactly.
Well, the black fellow that you spoke to, Bo, is in jail.
Yeah,
I told you that.
Yes, right in the beginning.
Yeah, we didn't have to identify a live person. It's a little more difficult dealing with the others.
I believe there were 3. I told you. One was an older man. What happened?
Right. One is missing in action. We don't know where that person is.
Okay.
Maybe he, like Pete, is lying there someplace, and we're not able to get to him, and you're not able to get to him. I mean, that's certainly possible. I don't know where he is. If I knew, what would be the advantage to me not to tell you?
I'd be curious to know whatever happened to the one, to the body you found. Like they said, it was 360, was it yards or something in the back of the compound?
Apparently it was out some distance, yeah. I don't know exactly how far it was, but it was out some distance.
And if it happened, from what they say about it, would have had to happen somewhere around mid-afternoon to, they said 6, but I doubt that it could be that.
See, Steve, I can't answer that question because I don't know.
I'll tell you what.
Let's keep our lines of communication open.
We will. I never said we wouldn't.
I think we've got some things accomplished.
If you want, you can't. There's not much you can do right now other than if you go back to these commanders or whatever else.
Sure, that's the only thing I can do.
If they don't want to do that, just call me.
Well, I'm willing to go back. I'm willing to go back to them and to try to talk some more. It never hurts to talk, does it?
If they don't want the body, then we'll just go dig a grave and put them in here.
It's not the idea that we don't want to handle the body and to give the body the respect that a body is due. We're all in agreement there. You know, that we can do.
It makes what? Yeah.
Pardon me?
Yeah, it says it sure makes, David just said it sure makes Jim a damn liar because he said they wanted the wounded and the dead. That's what he told us right from the start, right from the offset.
I know, but within the bounds of safety, we'll work on those issues.
Bounds of safety.
The rules.
We're willing to be walking out there. We're not armed or anything else. Here sits these, how many guys in a Brad sitting there? They can watch us. 2 guys. I mean, what on earth?
Listen, how long has he been lying there?
I would imagine since Sunday.
Okay, then you brought this to my attention approximately 20 minutes ago. We have never made decisions, on a rash or hurried basis. Let us work it out.
You know, it's not against law to buy a firearm. It's not against law to buy anything that they sell at a gun show. And when this is all resolved, you know, hey, yellow sheet is legal. An accusation is not. And bringing these tanks and stuff around here, I tell you what, being an American first, I'm the kind of guy that I'll stand in front of a tank. You can run over me, but I'll be biting one of the tracks. No one's going to hurt me or my family. That's American policy here. You could have arrested me any day as I jog up and down this road. You could have arrested me going to town or going to Walmart. Waco is going to bear witness against the ATF. The two agents across the street over here, Robert Gonzalez, I love the guy. I was honest with him. I brought him into my home. He was going to stay here for 2 weeks. All this stuff you guys may want to avoid and deny. You know, he wanted to tour around the place. I promised him a tour. He could have talked to any of these guys around here, anybody. He was free to come and go as he chose. And I do not appreciate it, and never will I ever appreciate somebody coming here with 2 helicopters and cattle trailers and all that, and pushing people around with guns. Hey, I'll meet you at the doorstep any day. You know, and somebody will get hurt. If you want to keep playing that game, I'm talking to you. Somebody's going to get hurt. Because this ain't America anymore when the ATF has that kind of power to come into anybody's home and kick doors down and things like that. Now, I do understand, someone reminded me of this, I do understand that one of the officers says his gun went off on accident. And that, you know, that was just like a signal and all that, you know. But look, beside the point, ATF, you boys are wrong. Your practices, your habits, yeah. Drug dealers, fine. You know, but even there's always a question, if there's any question whatsoever, the kids or women are involved, damn you, I tell you what, you keep your damn gun in your holster. You send a couple of big, brave, invincible kind of men, you let them knock on the door. If they're so damn involved to where they can risk their lives for the name of the law, then send them up bulletproof, put them in some kind of night armor or whatever, and let them knock on the door and ask the questions first. But no one's going to expect me, when they come busting in on my door with guns drawn and pointed in the air, and someone fires me, that I'm going to lay down and die for anybody. That just ain't going to happen in this country. God speaks to me. I have a message to present. You may not believe that. If you don't believe that, then believe this. Irrespective of God speaking to me. You see this here? See, this is my family. It may not be like your family. You know, it may not be like your family. This one here, you know, he's my family too, right, Joseph?
Yeah.
Tell him, you know, look in that camera and tell him what you think about it. Who's treated you good?
David.
You know, do you mind that, son? Huh? Do you love Joseph? Your best buddies?
Yeah.
You too, Damon? So, you know, you guys, you do it your way, I do it my way. You got to argue with me, you catch me on the side of the road somewhere, you come and argue with me. You come point guns in the direction of my wives and my kids, damn it, I'll meet you at the door any time. And I'm sorry some of you guys got shot. But, hey, God will have to sort that out, won't he? So we're going to send this tape out now. And I'm leaking in the back here. I got to get this taken care of. And I'm hoping to get stronger. And maybe we can send more tapes as issues develop. I do thank you guys. Sheriff Harwell, God bless you. And, you know, thanks for getting us the milk. And what can I say? They call me a rambling man, don't they? Anyway, God bless, and we'll sign off, Steve.
Contains recorded words of David Koresh. It's taken from telephone conversations between David Koresh and the FBI negotiators. It was recorded by the government, and the tapes were recently released by the Justice Department. The tape has two segments. The first is from April 16th, Friday. It's from the wee hours of the morning, and David has just optimistically reported to the FBI negotiator that he's finished the first chapter or segment of his manuscript on the 7 seals of the Book of Revelation. He had pledged on the previous Wednesday and sent out a signed legal agreement that he would exit the Mount Carmel Center upon completion of the manuscript. The tone of the conversation is quite optimistic and upbeat, both from David's side and from the side of the FBI listening to his report.
I'm saying that when I get through writing these and they're given to my attorney, and my attorney hands them over, what's the two theologians' name? Philip Arnold and Jim Tabor, because you've shown that they have a sincere interest in these things, you see, then I can spend all my time in jail and people can go in and ask me all the stupid questions they want, because they're not going to ask me about the seals. They're going to say, do you molest young ladies? Have you eaten babies? Do you sacrifice people? Do you make automatic weapons? Do you have bombs? That's what they're going to be interested in. Sensationalism.
So that's why you need to get it done before you leave there, then.
That's why I'm going to complete it, because, you see, you know as well as I do that people in this world, they want something dramatic and sensational. They don't want to have to sit, no one's going to sit there and let me sit there in front of a camera and read Psalms 40 to them to prove the first seal. Dick, it's a real world, and that's why I'm sympathetic with your position. I realize you're frustrated, and I agree with you.
I'm not frustrated. I went home, and I'm back. I'm no longer frustrated. I never was frustrated.
Did you take a shower for me?
Well, yeah, I took a couple of them for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now listen, let's get back to the point at hand. This, the writing of the seals. Okay, you've got to do that from in there, and it's going to take you X amount of time. But just tell me this, David. Are you saying that when you finish that manuscript,
then I'm not bound any longer?
No, but see, that doesn't answer the question.
I'll be out. Yes, definitely.
I know you'll be out, but that could. Excuse me, I've got a cold. That could mean a lot of things, David. That could mean
I'll be in custody, in the jailhouse. You can come down there and feed me bananas.
No, I know at some point in time that's true, but I'm getting from you, I'm asking you that when that is finished, are you then telling me that you are coming out the next day or 2 hours after you send that out?
Well, I'll probably, when I bring it out, see, my attorney is going to get to the copy.
Right.
Okay? And as soon as he hands it over to the scholars, the theologians, right, that's when he's going to come back, and that's when I'm going to go out with him, because he said point blank that, one of the guarantees of me arriving down there is that he's going to go with me.
You can go on paper here and says that David Koresh told me that as soon as he finishes this manuscript, the 7 seals, of which you finished the first chapter dealing with the first seal,
right,
that you're going to make that available.
I'll be splitting out of this place. I'm so sick of MREs, Dick, that,
Well, I just want to make sure that I have this right, that you're coming out as soon as that's finished.
That's what it was said by the attorney. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's clarified. Lock, stock, and barrel it.
I mean, I've heard you say that you're coming out after, but that is not specific. That's a game that we all can play.
Look, I know, Dick.
But I'm asking you for your word. You say that you're coming out as soon as that's done, and you gave up the manuscript to DeGuerin, who's going to make copies available for Arnold and the other fella,
right,
the other biblical scholar, and then you are coming out with that manuscript.
And he's going to come, and the way the procession is to be, I'm to go out first with him, and then I think you're last, right, Steve? With his attorney. Okay. And the other people in between.
And then you know what? I'm keeping you from getting back to work. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let you go so that you can get back to work, because, David, frankly, I'm eagerly awaiting this manuscript.
Well, I tell you what, it's going to blow your socks off.
Well, I'm perfectly willing to read it, and I'm looking forward to it as
you either hate me or love me then.
Well, I want to read it, and then I'll make a decision then, and we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, let's get that thing written.
The first chapter of David's manuscript that had been completed was carried out of the burning building on April the 19th by his secretary and stenographer, Ruth Riddle. It was on a computer disk. This disk was subsequently turned over to David's attorney, Dick DeGuerin, and according to David's instructions, DeGuerin passed it on to James Tabor and Philip Arnold. It's now published in the appendix to a recent book. Why Waco is the title, Cults and the Battle for Religious Freedom in America. The book contains a commentary by Drs. Arnold and Tabor on the manuscript. This next segment of the tape is indeed the last recorded words or conversation of David Koresh. It was recorded on April the 18th, Sunday, the day before the fire, at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Koresh called the FBI negotiators. He's quite upset and angry because they've begun to remove cars and clear the area in the front of the building. First of all, he's upset that evidence might be destroyed that would relate to what had happened on February 28th in the initial BATF raid on Mount Carmel. Secondly, he's concerned about property damage in general, and it's clear from the tone of his voice that he suspects that something might be up, and that indeed the agreement that he feels he's reached with the FBI to write the manuscript and then exit peacefully could fall apart and not be carried out.
Is this John?
This Henry?
Oh, Henry, this is Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Look, the generals out here, right? You have a hard time controlling them, right?
I don't control them, no.
Okay. Well, look, we have done everything we can to be able to communicate in a nice, passionate way. We've, told you what our work with God is, and we've been kind. We've not been your everyday kind of cult. We've not been your everyday kind of terrorist, which I'm sure you're familiar with having to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things that the FBI or these generals are doing is just kind of way beyond the scope of reason. And they're not only destroying private property, they're also removing evidences. And this doesn't seem like that these are moves that should be made by a government who says to a people that we're going to be able to take this up in a court of law. I mean, they're not going to be able to replace a lot of things here. Like that 68 SS El Camino that belonged to Paul Fana.
Mm-hmm.
They'll never be able to replace that. They don't have any more of those. And the 68 Camaro and other things out here in the front,
mm-hmm.
they can't replace that. They just can't replace it.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep doing these kind of things. It's just proving to us that they're not showing good faith in their part. And I just suggest they shouldn't do it.
I understand what you're saying, and I will impart that.
In all courtesies, please impart that, because it's come to the point to where God in heaven has somewhat to do also. And it's just really coming to the point of really what do you men really want?
I think I'm just imparting to you what my perception is, and my perception is that what they want is they want you and everybody to come out.
I don't think so. I think what they're showing is they don't want that.
Well, I think that's exactly what they want.
No, they're not going to get that. They're not going to get that by what they're doing right now. They're going to get exactly the opposite. Exactly the opposite. They're going to get wrath on certain people. They're going to get anger from certain guys. Now, I can't control everybody here.
I think you can.
No, I can't. You can understand, John.
Henry,
I'm sorry. In 1985, I presented a truth. And everybody that's here, I had to debate, and I had to talk to, and I had to show from scriptures. I had to prove my point for many hours, days, months, and sometimes years with certain people here.
Mm-hmm.
They went to scholars, they went to theologians. I have a very unique group here.
Yes, you do.
Not ignorant people, not stupid people. Now, there's some people that in the beginning, they went out like Kevin and Brad, individuals that were, people that were out there bar rollers and stuff like that. rough and tough guys. Now they're not the theologians of the world, but they're guys that need a lot of patience, and with a little bit of refinement, and a little bit of proof to them, they can be good people. But I would really, in all honesty and in good faith, tell these generals to back up. They don't need to tear up any more of this property. You tell us out of one side of the mouth we're going to be able to come back here and all this, and we're going to be able to take this up in court. And on the other hand, you're showing us that there's not going to be nothing to come back to.
I think the problem on this thing, David, is that this thing has lasted way too long.
Oh, it has. It should have never gotten started this way, and that was not our fault.
Okay.
Now, you don't wish to speak of the issues of the beginning of this.
No, I don't. And what the issues were, at that time is something else. The problem is not what the issues were at that time. The problem is this has lasted way too long.
I'm going to finish my book. Or I'm not going to finish my book.
I hope that you do.
Well, let me tell you this. These men, who every day we try to show them good faith, they've walked out in front of us, they've driven their tanks up to us, they busted in the side of a building a little bit one time. You said that was a mistake. It was not in your control. It wasn't in the commander's wishes. All of this has been showing us that these guys want to fight. Now, I don't want to fight. I'm alive too, and there's a lot of people in here that are alive. There's children in here.
That's right.
And we're also Americans, and I think that America has a patronage, a very clear patronage of individual citizens who have a breaking point.
Well,
now, if the government has gotten this strong, we can come on to something that we have worked for hard. We worked hard when we got on this property. A lot of hard hours. This place was a dump. We fixed it up. We built this little house here. It's not extravagant. There's a lot of people here with a high commission and a lot of love and concern, not just for our own lives, but for everybody's life. And if this is the way our government is showing the world that its tactics are to get someone to do as they wish, when realistically our rights have been infringed upon right and left.
But there's a way to resolve that, David.
Yes.
The way to resolve that is for you
your
to
way is that you're going to keep destroying our property.
This probably would not have had to happen.
It never did have to happen.
That's right. And then, if you had come out on the day that you indicated, that you promised that you were going to come out, none of this would have taken place.
Look, you denounced the fact that I have a God that communicates with me. That's the first mistake that we make.
Nobody is saying anything about your religious beliefs, your thoughts, your ideas, or anything like that.
You are saying
the same things that you can do there, you could do out here.
That's what you say. I think that you are lying. As a matter of fact, I know that in the first month or so that I'm out, I'm going to be bombarded all the time with nothing but people wanting to know questions, asking this, asking that.
And if you were working on the 7 seals, nobody would bother you. Why would that have to happen?
I have my responsibility also to you. Come on, look at the realities of things.
And the reality of things is that there are priorities, and your priority, priority should be in the safety of the children, the safety of the women.
You are fixing to ruin that. These commanders are fixing to ruin the safety of my children, my life, the lives of my wives, the lives of my friends, my family. You're fixing to step across the ribbon.
I think that was something that you brought on. It has nothing to do with the
if I brought on, if this is the corner of the box you placed me into.
I think that you're placing yourself in that.
No, you're the one moving forward. You're the one who has violated, your generals have violated our constitutional rights. You have made us guilty before proven so. You actively brought a band of people who didn't announce themselves. They came. I was out the front door. I was willing to talk to them. They shot at me first.
See, now you're talking about
something you don't want to prove as a matter of a fact. You're telling me now you tell me I'm under arrest. I have to come out and I have to
somebody is under arrest. That doesn't mean that you've already been proven guilty. It just means
I'm being punished. We've already been punished. We've been placed in jail. We're being punished as guilty.
Well, that is something that you chose for everybody in
That is not correct. That is something you chose as a confinement.
Because if you had walked out on that day as you promised, by now, who knows where we would have been. You know, you probably would be out on bail, for goodness sake.
Hey, John, all I can say is that if you want to place this in the history books as one of the saddest days in the world.
Well, I think that the rules for your safety still apply. There's no reason, you know, to think that they shouldn't apply.
I understand your rules. I'm just simply asking you in all good faith and all good manner that you tell the generals it's enough to tear up our property.
I will tell them exactly what you said, but you need to understand that I'm talking up. It's not, you know, talking down. So, you know, what I suggest and what I will suggest is exactly what you said. I've suggested that, and I've suggested other things. I have no problem in, you know, for
you tell them we love them, and, you know...
And you're willing to send out 30 people?
Look,
50?
Whoever wants to go out...
No. Don't tell me that. Tell me that you're sending somebody out.
I'm not going to... You don't understand about these people yet.
And you don't understand about the people here yet, either.
Okay, well, if this is the way we want to play, then we come to a point to where...
I'm not wanting to play anything.
Look, you are playing.
No,
everyone in the tanks up there is playing.
No, nobody is. People just want to see some progress.
Look, some progress is being made. You don't realize what kind of progress is being made. There are people all over this world who are going to benefit from this book of the Seven Seals. You don't seem to understand.
And what you don't seem to understand is that the people here want to see that kind of progress, but other kind of progress. There's no reason why you couldn't be doing the same very thing that you're doing now within the place.
It's not true. What you're saying is not based on the truth.
That has been shown by the FBI. Everyone was expecting that FBI would now wait until David Koresh finished his manuscript. Well, if you remember, what went wrong on the original raid on February 28th was that the ATF, the agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, lost the element of surprise. David Koresh had been tipped off, and so when the agents arrived, they were literally ambushed. So with everyone expecting the federal agents to wait for another week or two, this would be, you know, a prime time to go in. They would certainly have that element of surprise.
And yet that would jibe with the tone of the news conferences that they've been giving daily for the last couple of weeks. It seems to have gotten increasingly tense, and the agents who seem to show a great deal of patience in the beginning seem to hint toward the build-up to this that they were losing their patience.
They have been saying over the past few days our patience is not inexhaustible, but by the same token they also say we're not frustrated. We're running the show here. We're allowing him to do what he needs to do, that meaning being David Koresh. But they also, you know, they would get angry at times. The tone of the press conferences changed almost on a day-to-day basis. They would get extremely angry. They'd say, he's lying to us. 3 days ago, 4 days ago, Special Agent Bob Ricks, indeed, went through a whole litany of examples of times David Koresh has said one thing and then done another.
Thank you, Bonnie Anderson, for keeping us posted on the latest. Again, those camera shots are so shaky because the cameras are so far away and they have to zoom in so much to get the shot that any little bit of wind that blows really knocks them around. Let's go to Reed.
And now we're in Waco, Texas. This is the live scene where the FBI has been using some combat equipment in order to punch holes in the compound and introduce tear gas.
Do you hear that Johnson said he didn't want to...
As we see, one of the armored vehicles, tank-like, is now moving back away from the building, having made an assault on it.
people would come out.
And we'll continue our live coverage of this and other news in just a moment.
She's already hit the mean streets of Washington to calm residents terrorized by crime. Now, U.S. Attorney General Janet Reno sits down for her first extended interview. Meet her on Larry King Live tonight, 9 Eastern.
Federal authorities put some muscle behind their words today outside Waco, Texas, but David Koresh and his followers are still holed up as they have been for the past 51 days. A short time ago, a spokesman for the FBI discussed the complexity of this compound, including potential escape routes.
We have had a number of intelligence reports that they do have an underground tunneling system. There's no doubt about that. Some of those have been greatly exaggerated. Primarily, we believe they have crawl space. In the area right here, they have buried a bus, which I think most people know about. This is also a series of underground tunnels in this area. We believe many of those, however, are non-functional. Many of those areas, because of the recent rains, have been flooded out. Information is that they've been dumping a lot of their human waste in that particular area, too. We believe that there probably is crawl space underneath the compound, but gas will permeate those areas as well. So again, we're not anticipating they're all going to flow out at any second right now, but we will continue to apply the pressure. We will try to make their living environment as uncomfortable as possible.
And so the FBI says it plans to continue the tactic of continuing to put vehicles in the building and putting tear gas inside. Reed? Of course, we will continue our coverage near Waco, Texas throughout the day here on CNN. I'm Cheryl Atkinson at the CNN Center in Atlanta.
And I'm Reed Collins in Washington. Sonia Live is next, and here she is with a look at what's coming our way. Sonia.
Thank you, Reed. It's changed from a standoff to a showdown in Waco, Texas. Why and why today? Day 51, the latest from Waco next on Sonia Live.
Pardon me? 2 minutes, please. To our generic live show. How many minutes? 3.
The FBI says only bullets have answered the tear gas barrage. CNN Mike Capps reports from he is near the media site, near the compound, and Mike, you are about a mile and a half away, and that picture is shaky, still shaky because of the winds, is that right?
Yes, Sonia, it's very, very windy out here. Wind gusts up to 35 to 40 miles an hour. It's extremely windy on this central Texas prairie. What we're seeing is an M60 combat engineering vehicle. It's been injecting tear gas. It's also rammed straight into, what you're seeing there is the front door to the Branch Davidian compound, and look at it, it's going right into the front door. We've seen it go in that way. We've seen it turn around. It has a huge shovel on it. It just augers into that building and scoops up whatever is in the way, pulls out, dumps the load, comes back, and apparently it's shooting tear gas right now. And we'll see it move out in just a matter of moments. And it's been doing that for the last 20, 25 minutes just in that one spot. That is the front door to the compound.
Now, Mike, the FBI says that Koresh and his people were expecting this all along. What kind of evidence do they have for making that statement?
I just think that there's a high level of paranoia on Mr. Koresh's part. You know, since 1985, he's been planning a battle like this just to prove that his apocalyptic views on religion are correct.
On the other hand, one might say that he might have deliberately prolonged things so that this would be the natural result of everything that was going on.
I think there's a valid argument that way also, Sonia. You know, he told everyone last week that he was now going to decipher the 7 seals from the book of Revelation and put his spin on it and publish that in a manuscript form, or at least write it out in a manuscript form. And the FBI at that point said they'd wait him out. But apparently, listening to the news conference today with Special Agent in Charge Bob Ricks, there's no evidence that he's made much progress at all. He's finished the first seal, but it hasn't been edited yet. So I just think the frustration factor, if you will, the had it factor was there, and this is the result of that.
You know, you brought up the 7 seals, and I want to go to CNN's Bonnie Anderson about that. She has covered this story from the very beginning and has become something of an expert on Branch Davidian beliefs. Bonnie, let me ask you about the 7 seals. We continue to hear about this. What is it that we're talking about?
The 7 seals are in the book of Revelations, and what I might say right off the top is that this is perhaps the most mysterious book of the Bible. I've spoken with a number of theologians. I have read a number of interpreters' Bibles, articles written by experts in the field, and it is very much open to interpretation. This is the part of the Bible, though, that David Koresh has seized upon to say that he can explain it. And according to the book of Revelations, early chapters, whoever can explain it, whoever can teach this 7 seals is indeed the Lamb of God, i.e. is Jesus Christ, and that is what David Koresh claims to be. The 7 seals are, if you could imagine, a scroll in ancient times was sealed with wax seals or some sort of seal of that sort. It would then be opened, the first seal, a piece of the scroll would be unfurled, and on that scroll would be a series of prophecies. Once those prophecies came true, then you would go to the second seal. What David Koresh claims he has done is to open up to the 5th seal, past the 5th seal, that indeed all of the events that are taking place today, that have taken place over the past couple of months, are all events prophesied in that part of the book of Revelations. He has said from the very beginning that he was expecting some sort of assault like this, and FBI agent Bob Ricks and the others in the press conferences over the past few weeks have said that they would not go in with force because that would in effect be fulfilling one of David Koresh's prophecies and would make his believers, anyone who might be wavering inside, would then say, this must be Jesus Christ, this must be true because David said it would happen.
Bonnie, earlier today you had an opportunity to speak with David Koresh's mother. Could you tell us a little bit about that interview?
She said right off the bat that she is extremely afraid. She is afraid for her son. She's afraid for the children in the compound. And a point that she made is that we've been using a number of 17 as the number of children inside the compound. Now, these are figures and statistics provided to the FBI by David Koresh. According to members of the religious community who are now in jail, people I've spoken with, and according also to David Koresh's mother, they consider children to be anybody under 10 years old. And so anyone over 10 is not considered a child and therefore is not counted in that 17 figure. If you were to include teenagers, it would be more like 25 under the age of 18.
Bonnie, as you spoke with her, did you have any belief that she felt that her son, in fact, had the ability to translate or interpret these 7 seals, that he was someone who, the Lamb of God, I think is the expression you used?
What she did say is that she believes in her son, but if she were a follower, she would be there with him. Let's listen to what she had to say.
Interesting, though, you have now added another catch-22 to this, and that is that if we could, I believe that you have a tape that we can see of that interview. May we see that?
Yeah, this is when Bonnie Haldeman was saying that she was very concerned about the children.
All along they have said that they would not do anything drastic, that they would let him write his book, and he said when he got through writing the 7 seals, he would come out, which I figured would take a couple of weeks. And I was really surprised when I was watching the TV this morning and saw what was happening. And it scares me because those are not bad people in there.
Your son, however, though, also told federal authorities on March 2nd that as soon as a 58-minute tape speech of his was indeed aired on national radio and television, he would come out, and he didn't. And there have been other promises he's made that he has not kept. What made you believe, what led you to believe that this time he would indeed come out, would indeed surrender with his followers?
Well, he told Mr. DeGuerin that, and Mr. DeGuerin had faith that he was. And all I could do is believe, because, you know, all I know is what the rest of y'all hear. But hoping and believing that that's what he would do.
According to what your son has told FBI officials and negotiators, he was indeed wounded in the side and in the hand during the original raid. What kind of condition do you believe he's in now? Have they given you any additional information?
I haven't had any information. I have no idea. All I've gotten is what I hear on the radio and in the papers.
We need to check out
That was Bonnie
Yes.
Anderson, who now in
Yes.
Atlanta. That was a previous discussion that she had with the mother of David Koretz. Let's go now to Robert Klotz. Robert used to be in special operations for the D.C. Police. He ran the helicopter squad, the bomb squad, and the presidential security unit. Mr. Klotz, I'm interested. We're going to stop for a moment as we go back to Bonnie Anderson in Atlanta.
As you can see on your screen, there is a great deal of smoke coming out of the building. Let's go to Mike Capps. We can also see some flames there now. Mike, what can you tell us? What can you see?
Bonnie, for the last 15 minutes, we've watched this M60 vehicle, this combat engineering vehicle, make large holes in the side of this building and pump tear gas in there. At times, as you well know, tear gas can be incendiary, and apparently this is what's happened. And it looks like now we have a very large-scale fire breaking out on what must be the south side, right near the front side of this building. These are some amazing pictures here. A fire has broken out, and let's just stay with this and watch it for a few minutes if we can. As I said, this combat engineering vehicle has been working very diligently around the front door of the complex, and first he'd take his shovel in and scoop something out, then he'd turn around with the turret and pump tear gas in, and
Mike, it appears that this is the portion of the building that is on fire right now is part of an observation tower that is adjacent to the front door. It's also on the second floor, which is where the women's sleeping quarters are. Did you see on the other side around the other side of this building whether or not tear gas had been put in at that level?
No, I didn't, but Bob Ricks indicated that in the news conference, Bonnie, that they'd put tear gas all over the building. What that means is anybody's guess. This is a roaring fire here. And I don't know if there are any fire trucks even. I haven't seen any fire trucks come up. I don't know if there are any fire trucks at the compound even. So this fire is really burning out of control here.
Well, and we also have to remind viewers that water has been turned off. The water pump does not work at the facility. It has been disabled by the FBI about the second week of this raid.
Now, and also remember, we've had 35 to 40 mile an hour winds, and this fire is racing out of control. Black smoke would indicate some sort of perhaps tar on the roof or oil. Perhaps something burning there.
Another thing to remember is the room that FBI agents believe held the weapons cache is right in that general vicinity. So there could be the danger.
Right, we're talking about the opportunity of explosives going off at any moment, I suspect.
FBI agents have told us on several occasions that the cult was armed with grenades. They had rocket-propelled grenades, they had hand grenades, and other explosives. Indeed, that was part of the original search and arrest warrant. So it would...
This fire is really rolling now. I don't see from that vantage point any effort on anybody's part to bring a fire truck up there, if in fact there is one here. I've not seen one come by all morning.
Now, a number of the people inside have relatives outside who have been trying to reach them for quite some time and have been allowed to send messages in.
Bonnie,
I understand someone is with you now.
on the phone with us right now is Belinda Gannon. She is the mother of one of Koresh's followers still holding out against the FBI siege. Now, you recognize, of course, that this is a very dramatic moment. Wouldn't this be a wonderful moment for your son to walk out? Do you think he is free to walk out at this moment, Mrs. Gannon? Belinda Gannon, can you hear me? Mrs. Gannon? We've lost Belinda Gannon. We're going to go back to Bonnie Anderson in Atlanta. Bonnie?
Sonia, one of the things that that comes to mind when I see this is a comment made to me 2-3 weeks ago by one of the members who is now in jail at McLennan County Jail. And in fact, in one of our reports, he said that should the FBI enter the compound, they would see an explosion unlike anything ever seen before, and those were his words. When I asked him and I pressed him on this, he continued to say that he thought it would be from heaven, but he did not discount the possibility that there would be some sort of explosion from the compound itself. Mike, I
yes.
can see that the flame is
This is in the observation tower, Bonnie. This is where all the messages were hung on the sheets, if you'll remember, and it's completely engulfed in flames, it appears now. The whole south side of the building is going up in flames literally before our eyes here.
I think we also need to bear in mind that from the very beginning, David Koresh has made it very clear that he was not going to come out and that he was prepared. In fact, we've heard him say this on some of the recorded negotiation sessions with FBI agents that were replayed time and time again over the loudspeakers. He said that he was prepared to die. We don't see anybody coming out of the compound yet, and there has been the concern from the part of the FBI that perhaps some of the members would simply not leave if indeed the tear gas was used as we've seen it has been used. Correct, and as you point out, David has said time and again that he would not come out, and this is, we still do not see any sort of firefighting equipment out there, so apparently the strategy is to let this thing burn. Well, and again, among the weapons that are inside the compound, and this comes from the search warrant, are 50 caliber weapons, there are hand grenades, there are a number of different type of concussion grenades. Indeed, some of the agents who were killed and wounded on February 28th, indeed, were injured by some sort of explosive device. The FBI also believes that Koresh, over the last year or two, had started stockpiling explosive